up, party people? Thanks for joining me on this lovely day. My name's Katie. I talk about travel, scuba diving, and lately I've mostly been talking about becoming a better version of yourself. To give you a little what's going on right now, I'm actually in a very in-between place. I'm in between jobs, I'm in between relationships, I'm in between everything. And this isn't my first time around. So I'm pretty comfortable with the in between, but I'm realizing this time that I want to do it differently. And so stay with me, like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what you want to talk about. Are you in the in between? Are you wanting to be in the in between or, looking for something new, looking for something better? And yeah, I'd love to hear your comments or just share your stories with me as well, because it's a pretty weird and wild place to be in. So I'd love to hear from you. Today, I wanted to talk about basically approaching midlife differently. I think that growing up, a huge I almost said swear word. It wasn't a swear word, but like a huge taboo or whatever was the midlife crisis, right? And I picture like the wealthy man gets a divorce, buys a Porsche and starts dating a woman that's 20 years younger. And that was kind of like the typical midlife crisis or what everyone pictures of like a midlife crisis, right? And nowadays, I feel like that picture is really changing a lot because the picture in my mind is no longer of a man, it's of women. So many women are getting divorces, changing jobs, starting new careers, starting new businesses, um, and doing it on their own. Some with kids, some without kids. And so it and it's like everyone keeps talking about it being more of like a spiritual awakening, right? Everyone's awakening. Everyone's coming out of this like fog, out of this stupor of how we were raised to be and what life was going to be like. And now I think a lot more people are starting to take charge of their life in this midlife era. And I no longer think of it as like a crisis, right? It's not a crisis, it's a change. It's a huge change, all of it, whether it is divorce, whether it is losing a job, changing careers, starting a business. It's huge, big changes, and so many people are going through it. And I feel like it's happening, especially in the US and maybe even on a global scale. This is partly why I love to travel, is to kind of see what's happening outside of this like United States bubble. And so I was on this walk the other day and I was thinking about midlife, right? So I'm 43. I feel like I'm still 33. So it's hard to even think that I'm in this version of my life. I now like to call it version 4.3 of Katie. And it's cool because I don't think of it as like, oh, I've reached midlife. When we were kids, we thought people in their 40s were old, 50s were old, 60s, it was like you're almost in the grave. And, as I've gotten older, it's like, oh my God, people in their 60s are young, people in their 70s are young, people are living longer, guys. And I honestly believe, and a real mentor of mine said this in one of her videos, like, we're probably going to be living into our hundreds. Like, advanced medicine, people are taking care of themselves. Like, I honestly believe the world is changing and shifting in such a way that, like, we're probably going to end up living longer than our grandparents lived. Um, and I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, I think with technology and the way the world is moving, and I pray that it's moving in such a positive way that, we're all going to be like these not even old, these like 90-year-olds just busting a move on the dance floor in a club. Like, it's gonna be amazing. So anyway, back to this like approaching midlife differently. I had this amazing kind of epiphany, and I was like, we're not starting over. You know, so many people are like, oh, they broke up with their boyfriend and now they're like, oh, I have to start all over. And I think it's starting better, especially when you're reaching your like late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It doesn't matter when it happens. It's like you're not starting over, you're starting better. And the reason I wholeheartedly believe this is because now you have years of information that you've learned about yourself, about other people, about situations, about your patterns, about your beliefs, your values, your morals. And it's like you get to start a new career, a new entrepreneurship, a company, a relationship, maybe you're adopting, maybe you want to have kids, like whatever it is, like you're starting from a point now where you actually have the experience and the information to start better, you know? And not everything is going to be successful. I mean, if everything in life was successful, like there would be no, if there's no highs and lows, it's hard to have joy without pain, you know? So you're starting better. Not saying everything's going to be super successful, but at least now you know that. Like you're starting from a place where you're like, well, for the first 20 years, this worked. Now it's no longer working. Okay, it worked 20 years ago, but it doesn't work now. Okay, well, what can I do now that's going to work better? You know, what do I need now as a person that's going to make my life better? And I really wholeheartedly believe and feel it in myself that like I am not starting over. I am starting better. I have so many more tools in my toolbox now than I ever did before. So now I'm just working on all the bullshit that got basically ingrained in me since I was born that like how I should, fear money and how I should be working a 9 to 5 job and how I should be having kids and I should be saving for retirement and all these things that we were told is what we need to do, like the American dream. I don't think that dream that existed for our parents exists for us anymore. And I think the dream for us now is that we need to live our life as we want to. I was reading a woman put out a video on IG. I wish I had her name. She just put this great video out and it was about, basically like millennials, we learned from our parents that, what I just said, get the job, get married, have kids, you'll lead a great life. And she was saying that now it's just totally different. It's not the same for us with us starting jobs in recessions. Now it's more expensive than ever to live. So many people are going back and living with their parents. Like the American dream is not what it used to be. And I think it's now a point where it's like now we get to choose how we want to live. And I apologize, I totally digressed. This woman did this video and all the comments were like people who have made a change, like career choices, leaving relationships, starting new, starting better. And some of them were like still in that dream phase, like, well, I work a corporate 9 to 5, but I really just want to live on a farm and raise goats and have like goat yoga. And I put a comment in there like, your dreams are beautiful. Like, what is keeping you stuck? What is keeping you in this place that you feel you can't have that? And I feel like it's this mindset that we were like drilled into our brains from birth is like, you have to, you have to do it a certain way. And it's like we fear money. And so we stay stuck in these cycles and we stay stuck in these jobs because we feel like, oh my God, I'm going to run out of money, so I can't quit my job. And I feel like there's just so many different ways to do life that have nothing to do with, doing your job, doing your 9 to 5 job. And so I'm really starting to work on breaking those patterns, breaking those cycles that have been ingrained in me for so long. And I'm hoping that this next year, just doing everything based on what I want to do and how I want to do it, where I want to go, what I want to do there, and not even think about, oh my God, am I going to run out of money? I don't want to let fear drive any of my decisions next year. And I'm hoping that my story will inspire a lot of you to, instead of making comments on people's reels about how you want this dream or you want to get started, I'm hoping this next year that a lot of us take the leap, even if we don't know how it's going to happen or why. It's like we have that dream, we have that vision. You take the leap and you just make it happen. You make it happen because that is what you truly want in your heart, and living from our hearts instead of living from the fear we have and the patterns we've been repeating our whole life based on this fear and doubt and shame and guilt. And so hopefully, we all start living this better life. And me taking this leap again and being in the in-between, I'm just gonna kind of chronicle it, I guess is a good word, so that you can see, like, yeah, some days are harder than others, but as long as you keep going, like, something good will come of it, especially leading with the heart instead of leading with fear. And yeah. So I'm really excited. I love this whole idea of starting better instead of like midlife crisis or starting over. And I hope that that's something you can start working into your mindset as well, so that it doesn't feel so, I don't know, shameful that you are beginning a new path of something. You're starting better. So, thank you for joining. Like, share, subscribe, stay tuned for more stories and the staying in the in-between and just me choosing life from my heart and not from fear. So, thanks so much.